Right guys, so here we're back again. I want to show you guys some of his collection, if not all. I don't think it's all.
Yeah, this is just some of the watches that I felt I have a bit of a story to tell.
Yeah, so let's get on to it. So let me first mount this tripod, right? Let's look at that. Look at this. Look at this. How hardcore can you get?
All worn and all worn out just after I think 3 washes in the washing machine.
Okay, so let's get on.
Okay, so I'm gonna start over here on the left. This is just a couple of dress watches. So I'm gonna start with the Seiko one first. Why this piece is special to me actually, it's because inside of this watch is the 4S movement. As we know, during the quartz crisis, Seiko went full on into quartz, and then during the 90s, early 90s, they did not have the 7S movements were not out yet. Like the watches that we know, 7S26, those were not out yet. So Seiko had to ravage their old catalog. In the meantime, there was an interim caliber based on the 56 caliber, which morphed into this caliber, which is the 4S. So if you look at the early 90s Seiko catalog, you will see things like the S-Wave and stuff. Those were all based on the 4S. Right? And this is the last of the 4S. It's the most complex movement that Seiko has ever built, because it's got power reserve, it's got this what do we call retrograde date and day and date, and GMT on top of that. And this is a true GMT in the sense that every control jumps 1 hour, every click jumps 1 hour. So and to top it off, it was built in Shiguishi studio in Morioka. So at that point, this watch really flies under the radar because it's the same price as a Marine Master. And if you look at the facets of the watch, it's very, very similar. It's just that the Marine Master doesn't have an arc over here. It goes in and then back in over here. This one goes out and straight. So very, very similar in terms of that case shape.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
So it's called the Seiko Complex.
Seiko
That's the nickname
Complex.
of it. Yeah. All right. And then over here is the SBGR001. So this is the first Grand Seiko of the modern era that comes with a mechanical movement. Of course, with the quartz, we have the 95er that preceded this, but this is the first. This is the first modern mechanical GS. So it holds a lot of history in that sense. And the thing about this watch is that when they developed this movement, they wanted to do, Seiko always does this kind of thing whereby if you look at the old 62 GS, that was 61, I think it's 61 or 62 GS, I can't recall. There was a mechanical movement from Seiko, the top end one, that was actually very similar to this in terms of the 9S55 and the 8L35. So we all know that actually the 8L35 is an undecorated 9S55. So this has the 9S55, and of course most people know the 8L35 to be served by the famous Marine Master. All right. So this piece is that.
Yeah.
So over here is the Credor note. Now, Credor is of course old luxury arm of Seiko.
Credor.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
there's something.
Credor
I've never seen
came to be because of the quartz revolution. We all know that GS was the mechanical arm of Seiko.
Okay,
that was for luxury. Yeah.
just to inform there, GS is
Grand Seiko.
Grand Seiko,
All
right?
And Credor was born during the quartz era.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were Seiko's flagship brand for quartz watches. Most of them, they were actually very elegant designs, which were usually rectangular case and all that. But they have moved away from that design language.
Right, right.
So the Signo over here has a very interesting movement. Now we all know that Seiko has a new 6L movement, which is a direct drop for the ETA 2824, 2892. And this watch was actually developed, this movement was actually 4L that evolved into the 6L. Now, the beginnings of this was actually a project that Seiko did for a series of watches which were JDM called the SARX. But those watches never made it internationally. So at that point of time, it was a failure because the cheapest SARX that you could find in Seiko's catalog was 150,000 yen. And that was just too much. Because most of the presage and things like that, those were probably in the, at that point of time, 30, 40,000 yen kind of bracket. And for Seiko to introduce something like that, which is not positioned as premium, it was just a lot. So in the end, that series failed, and Seiko sold off the movement to Soprod. And the Soprod A6 is actually very, very similar to the 4L and the 6L. The 4L and the 6L are the same thing. It's just that in modern day, Seiko terms it as the 6L. Maybe slight changes to the Inca block, that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is actually a 4L75.
Okay.
So the normal ones in the SARX you see is the 4L35. So 75 is usually just nomenclature for Credors because they are decorated to a higher level.
Okay, bro. So,
Alright.
so tell me, what kind of attachments do you have? I mean, apart from the history behind these three, let's not. We haven't gone through this. How are they very, very? Why do you still have them after all these years, and
Okay.
why they mean a lot to you?
Why I wanted to get this piece back then was because I wanted something like a Rolex Explorer. Alright, and this gives me that kind of vibe, but it's an all-occasion watch. I can wear this to a dinner or anything like that. It wouldn't look out of place.
Right, right.
And the fact that it's the only Seiko watch that has about, I think, six complications. So I think it's 6. I can't recall actually, somewhere around there. So it makes it the most complex movement that Seiko has ever built.
Right.
So I felt the inclination to get one. Actually, I have 2. I have another one which is similar to this, but it's in another finish.
Right, right.
So that's how much I love this model.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. So with this one, I wanted to get my first Grand Seiko, and what better way to start off than to look at a modern day piece that was the first to kick off the whole movement again.
Right.
So this piece was my first piece of Grand Seiko.
right.
The rest of my Grand Seikos are all quartz. So
Right.
this is the only mechanical one.
And
Yeah. And with this one was actually I was so intrigued by the movement and the simplicity, and of course kind of like that octagonal shaped bezel.
Right.
Yeah, which the older GS, which were JDM from I think somewhere in about the year
Okay,
99 2000.
so guys,
Limited or something like that.
JDM
Yeah.
means
Japanese domestic model.
yeah. So if he uses abbreviations like GS or JDM, so there you go. GS is for Grand Seiko and JDM is for Japanese domestic model. And JDM doesn't really actually just apply. It applies to a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things.
A lot of things. Cars, yes,
watches,
yeah.
Usually, you know, the Japanese used to keep all the premium stuff for
Right,
themselves.
yeah.
Even back in the 70s for hi-fi,
Yeah.
there were certain models that they didn't export out.
Right. Okay, bro. So let's end this episode with your dress watches, and then we go on to the next one, right? So let's end it now.
All
Can you
right.
give a clap, please?
There
Thank
we
you.
go.